Good afternoon. I'm calling this meeting to order. It is Tuesday, April 18th, 2023. It is 2:02 p.m. We'll start our meeting today with the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Commissioner Edwards.
Please join me in the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'll go ahead and do introductions. I am Carolina Mejia. I'm the chair of the board. To my right is Vice Chair Ty Menser. To my left is Commissioner Edwards, Gary Edwards. Also in the boardroom, we have our county manager, Ramiro Chavez, as well as Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell, and our clerk of the board, Jamie Caldwell. Commissioner Menser, would you like to do a land acknowledgement, sir?
Thank you, ma'am. We would also like to start today with the land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge and thank the indigenous Salish peoples whose elders and ancestors have lived on and cared for the land and waterways of this county since time immemorial. Specifically, the Squaxin Island, Nisqually, and Chehalis people, our sovereign tribal partners. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. The purpose of this acknowledgement is to disrupt ongoing erasure of injustices done and to remember history as a stepping stone towards healing.
Thank you. Next is the approval of the Tuesday, April 18th agenda. County Manager, there were some changes done this morning to the agenda and agenda setting. Could you review those changes, please?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. From this morning, we removed an item from Area 5, which is Central Services. One of the leases that we revisited last week is not ready for your consideration. We also added item 6A, which is setting a public hearing. Added item 7A, which is related to Medic 1 units. We also added a couple of items on 9A, which is the accepting additional funding for a grant with the Department of Ecology. And let me double cup. And 4B, thank you. And this is the voucher list for the week of April 3rd. Those are the additions from this morning.
Thank you. With that, is there any comments from any of the commissioners, any questions, any wish to remove any of the items on the agenda?
No, ma'am.
Okay,
County Manager mentioned that we are not having next week's meeting.
No, thank you for that, Commissioner Menser. The result of you moving items from to this agenda as a result of your conversation this morning, because next week agenda was pretty light. So the result of those actions you took this morning, the Board of County Commissioners meeting is scheduled for next week, April 25th, is canceled. The meeting 2 in the afternoon. The agenda setting will continue on at 9 in the morning just to review the agenda for the following week. But again, the 2 o'clock meeting next Tuesday is canceled.
9:15?
9:15,
thank you.
new time.
Okay. With that, are we ready to move forward?
I move to approve the revised agenda for Tuesday, April 18th, 2023.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menser? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. The agenda is approved. We have a presentation today, and it's Earth Day proclamation.
Mr. Bob Barnes, you'd like to come to the podium and introduce your group?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. We're pleased to have Marshall Middle School with their CSI program here today. 2 teachers, Tom Condon and Matthew Philippi, and a number of students. So we'll have them come up and talk to you about what they've been doing this last year. And want to thank the Commissioners for all the support that you've given them in the past. Particularly Gary Edwards last year. You opened your wallet and took out a $100 bill and gave it to the students, which was very commendable.
Have another 100?
And then this year, you have supported them with, I think, a $25,000 amount that's going to be used for campus restoration. And the students will be involved in that project. So really appreciate all the support. So, without
Madam
further
Chair,
ado-
could I ask Mr. Barnes a question real quick?
Mhm.
Do you have an update on Ralph Monroe? He's always been so active in participating here.
Right. Ralph and Dave Pearsall both are recuperating. Ralph is over at Panorama and has been learning how to walk again. And he's doing well. I talked to him today, and I also talked to Dave Pearsall. So I'd like to keep both of them in our thoughts and prayers. And they're both
Okay.
incredible people, and we love them dearly.
That's Dave Pearsall Senior, right?
Yeah, Dave Pearsall Sr., exactly. So, Tom?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity for our Thurston, Marshall Middle School students to come here and present to you the important work that they've been doing this last year, and in particular today when you honor Earth Day. Our mission at Citizen Science Institute at Thorogood Marshall is to bring the lessons that we're learning in the classroom from science to civics out and to address issues in our community. None of that would be possible without the important partnerships that and support we've received, in particular you, the county, private citizens like Bob Barnes, Oli Ecosystems, the City of Olympia, and a few others. So thank you again for the opportunity for our students to come present to you the work they've been doing this last year. Anything else you want to say?
No, just thank you again. Again, my name is Matthew Philippi. I'm a co-collaborator with Thomas Condon over here in the Citizen Science Institute and these fine young citizens over here. Again, just thank you very much for all the support. As you guys know, schools don't have much of a budget to work with, let alone to do projects like this. So it's great where we can connect our kids to our community, back to our environment. So thanks for the support. And we have a little introduction. You want to do this?
Sure.
Or are you all done with that?
Yeah, we're done with that.
Okay, cool. Last piece I'll just add, is we're here because environmental literacy comes in the form of connecting to the land we occupy. Thank you for that great land acknowledgement. We really appreciate that. Understanding our history and our role in restoring and maintaining the function of our ecosystems and our natural environment is one of our top priorities, so thank you.
Hello, I'm Siri. And I'm Eliza. Thank you so much for having us here today. So we are a part of the CSI program at Thurgood Marshall Middle School. Last year we came to the County Commissioner's office and we shared CSI's plans for the future, our efforts in our native plant nursery, and our work with restoring and preserving our watershed.
Our primary goal is to prioritize the health of our ecosystems and watershed. As a result of our work in restoring habitat, we are protecting our waterways for salmon runs. We greatly appreciate the help and support you have given us.
Hi, I'm Tess.
One of our many projects is a native plant nursery.
The Native Plant Nursery is an essential project. In this nursery, we have a total of 800 different native plants. We have 16 unique varieties, including the Nuka Rose, the Red Elderberry, the Tall Oregon Grape, and the Ocean Spray. We have planted these plants at Cooper Crest and West Bay Woods just this past year.
These plants are contributing to a healthy and diverse ecosystem filled with native plants. These plants can provide us a significant profit by selling them for fundraisers. This allows us to put more money back into our nursery, our other projects, and nonprofit organizations. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Summit.
I'm Eliza.
And my name is Torin. This past summer, our local forests and trails were logged. When we arrived back at school, we were in outrage. This area was quickly logged for profit, but thankfully, with our help with Oli Ecosystems, we have started a slow restoration.
Oli Ecosystems has supported CSI by purchasing some of our native plant inventory and allowing us to mulch up the clear cut after coming back several times.
On MLK Day, on our school service day, 150 students went out and started planting trees that we in CSI had grown in our native nursery. Since then, 60 students of CSI Nation have gone to the site 4 times and mulched the trees. This will help conserve soil moisture and aid the tree's growth. Over time, we hope to restore it to its natural and original glory.
Hi, I'm Clara Sandberg.
I'm Lucy.
The Redwood Restoration Project is our biggest restoration project on school campus. The purpose of the restoration project is to control invasive species, compost, mulch, add a diverse mix of native plants, including coastal redwood and giant sequoia, and bring back a functioning habitat. In the future, we plan to remove the rest of the invasive species and mulch in preparation for planting trees and shrubs. During Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service, our school participated in the removal of invasive species such as Scotch broom and Himalayan blackberry.
Removing invasive species is a very important part of the preparation to plant our redwoods and giant sequoia. 60 students participated in this activity, not including kids from CSI. To achieve this, we have partnered with OSPI, who gave us an environmental literacy grant. This allowed us to use a machine to get rid of the invasive species at our site. The City of Olympia also contributed by donating 200 plants and staff support. By contributing this money, we are now able to complete this project. And now, with the help of the Thurston County Commissioners, we can add mulch and plants. Moving on to stage 2.
Thank you for having us here and listening to us. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Commissioners?
Boy, how do you follow that? You young people are right on top of things, I can tell you that. And what a great presentation. You were more, you had that refined better than we do up here, for sure. So thank you very much. I think there was some kind of a fundraiser going on at the time, I hope.
Commissioner Menser?
So do you guys have any Earth Day activities planned? Individually or collectively? I know there's things going around the community. I thought there was something at Hanson, isn't there?
Yes, and we're also going to be doing a bunch of work at Marshall as well.
Marshall as well, okay.
There's Yes, in fact, we're having a meeting about it this afternoon. We have a speaker coming in to talk about the importance of trees, and each student in the school is going to be receiving a tree to either take home or to plant in a local area. As well as continued work. There's some work on campus where also, in addition to the redwood forest, where we have another project that we're eyeing that needs to be addressed.
Okay, well, I was gonna recruit you for some county events, but it sounds like you guys are all dialed up.
Oh, well,
My
there's a lot of
assistant will send to you guys the links to all the things going around around the community.
That would be great.
At Fry Cove, in Steeport Island Peninsula, there's something, and Oxen Park, and down in Tumwater Historical, but there's always a lot of fun.
Very good.
The other question, other comment I wanted to make was just, thank you so much for helping Ole Ecosystems with that area. I'm a neighbor of yours, and I drive by that every day, and it makes me ill to see ever since that clear cut occurred. I know folks, Ole Ecosystems took me out to the site and walked me through and showed me some of the plans. And I'm just looking at the silver lining that, in 20 years' time, we may be in a better situation, over time, because now that area is now going to be protected and conserved rather than being sort of logged for profit or developed. It's the crest of that, and if I remember correctly, it's the top of the Green Cove watershed. So a very important area, and I think it makes all the sense in the world, the work LE Systems is doing out there, and thank you so much for helping them. And they're helping you guys with their native plants, so that's great. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Lucy, Tess, Siri, Eliza, Clara, Torin, and Summit for coming here today and presenting to us. It's great to see, these young people that are out here and just doing amazing things in our community, and you're creating an impact, right? That's going to be seen 20 years from now, and that's pretty exciting and great to see. So thank you for coming here today and giving us a presentation.
Ready to go. Okay, we have our proclamation. Thurston County Proclamation, Earth Day. Whereas April 22nd, 2023 provides an opportunity to increase community awareness and appreciation of the Earth's natural environment. And whereas this year's theme, Invest in Our Planet, focuses on engaging governments, institutions, businesses, and the more than 1 billion citizens who participate annually in Earth Day to do their part. Everyone accounted for, everyone accountable. And whereas Thurston County strives to provide regional leadership to enhance environmental sustainability for its citizens and for our future generations. And whereas climate change is already affecting our communities, impacts like hotter summers, fire smoke, and flooding endanger our homes and affect public health and local businesses. And whereas Thurston County has signed on to the Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan, a regional agreement to significantly reduce climate polluting greenhouse gases while maintaining and even improving our quality of life. And whereas the Marshall Middle School children have completed many projects in their community, including the Cooper Crest logging site restoration, restocking the native plant nursery for campus restoration, as well as the Citizen Science Institute's work at the Green Cove Creek watershed. And whereas more than 5 decades after the first Earth Day, millions of people have answered the call to protect the environment. Today, let us do so again by joining, raising our voices, and standing up for our planet and our future. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Thurston County Commissioners hereby proclaims April 22nd, 2023 as Earth Day in Thurston County and encourages all residents to be a part of this important movement and help write many more victories and successes into our history. Adopted this 18th day of April 2023 by the Board of County Commissioners. Get our students and guests come up.
So you all will get a little Thurston County pin. This is just our appreciation for you guys coming here today.
We'll get up here and we'll face this.
I got one left. He didn't get a bill. There you go.
All right, guys, you're gonna have to pretend like you like each other a little bit. So while we have the kids scooch in and gentlemen in the ends, you go ahead and scooch in. There we go. Yeah. Oh, okay, go ahead, Anna. You go first.
3, 2, 1. Thank you.
Okay, then my turn, and then we'll go to the next one. Thank you. All right. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Go in here, bossing everybody. And then you're like.
How you doing, Bob?
Oh, John, that's okay. I know, as long as the kids got one, that's the main.
Okay. Okay.
Good to see you. Bob, always good to see you.
I don't mind helping out, but gotta have a cause.
I'll let them exit. Thank you. That will conclude our presentation for today. Next is an opportunity for the public to address the board. The Board of Thurston County Commissioners welcomes comments from the public. However, there are some guidelines governing such comments to ensure they are appropriate and do not take advantage of the fact that most meetings are televised. The general speaking guidelines are as follows. Please introduce yourself, including the address you reside in the county. Please address the board, not the audience or staff. Please silence your cell phones for those members in the boardroom. Speakers are limited to a total of 4 minutes to address the board. Meeting attendees cannot donate their speaking time to another person. No comments that are lewd and offensive, inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory in nature. Please be respectful. No outburst of any kind. No comments that are commercial in nature, such as promotion of a for-profit business. All materials provided to the county may be considered public records, subject to public release upon request pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 4256 of the RCW. No remarks about pending land use permits or similar matters that could eventually come before the board on appeal. Thank you for your cooperation. We'll start with members who have signed up, and then I will open it up to any other member in the boardroom, and then we will move on to Zoom. First person is John Pettit.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is John Pettit. I live in East Olympia. So just a little reminder, every day is Earth Day. Every day. We can't treat just one day out of the year and think we're doing something. And as most of you are aware, I practice a lot of Earth Day there at my ranch with having the river and taking care of it and providing a spot where people can reach out and actually be part of nature. It's all important. And I guess I'll say I appreciate not having any issues with the county objecting to opening this up to the public. The rivers belong to everyone, and the impact we have is for generations. So acknowledgement and having young people involved, I'm completely about that. I'm really pleased to see that. So one of the things which I'm going to bring up today is something I tentatively kind of thrown out there to one of the commissioners, but I'll just throw it out here to all of you. If you care about agriculture in Thurston County, one of the first things that you might want to do is just modify a current ordinance you have. Is agriculture something that's only supposed to be down in the South County? Why not change your agritourism ordinance and be inclusive to all of unincorporated Thurston County? There's guardrails inside there. It doesn't go down to a 1 acre parcel. It goes to 10 acres right now. Maybe that could be revised down a little bit. But if you want to encourage agriculture, you have to not have everyone have to live by the limits of the current residential zoning requirements. And the agritourism program is actually pretty good. A few things that might need to be done on it would be, one is to have it formally noted like you would open space for people, create a spot where it's a formally noted and accepted use of the property under agritourism, whether that gets through the approval of the commissioners, just like open space does or not. That might be one of the options to get you there. The number of acres involved, and then the designation and use of the appropriate critical area ordinances, which provide different boundaries for use as agriculture than what it does under residential typically. So that brings me down to just one more particular continuing topic. And I'm just going to be throwing some questions out there, of which I would think it might be real beneficial for you as commissioners to know, and for us citizens, we'd like to know. Because one of my topics, of course, is going to go right back to REIT 1. REIT 1 currently has a certain amount of balance. It was provided a week or two ago about how much is in the account. But there are several things which need payment and have payment dates that they're due. So I would appreciate if you can have the county managers provide some hard information as to payments of these particular items that are listed as proposed items that are going to be paid through the budget process. The actual date that the interfund loan for 5.6 million plus 112,000 for the interest on it, what's the date on that? What is the date for the payment for the 22 bond of 2,653,500? What's the date for the payment of the 2013 bonds and the 2010 bonds combined at $268,000? What are the dates? All I want to know is, let's get the facts here, and once we get everything laid out, we can see whether or not we are going to be financially solvent with these accounts or not. The public has a right to know. It's their money. Thank you.
Next is Terry Ballard.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name's Terry Ballard, and I live in Tanglewild, have 2 residents there, and one also in Olympia. I'm just wondering, as far as the acknowledgement, because I have training in facility management and equal opportunity for the Army, in the Army, and as far as acknowledgement, I want to know what they did right for us to screw up. Also, as far as being a facility manager, I still wonder why unincorporated Thurston County residents were the ones that paid for this building. I just wondered where all the incorporated cities are that have an abundance of money. And like the lot plant downtown, okay, putting millions of gallons of waste into our Puget Sound daily. I thought we lived in a really clean environment here, and I'm just wondering why we're screwing it up. Okay, is it more about the profit than about the situation? Next, I would like to discuss the homeless. I'd like for the homeless to actually have a chance to become a pillar of society. We're not doing anything here for the homeless other than paying their way to become more homeless. We're supplementing them for their drug addictions, as 85% of the homeless in Thurston County have a drug addiction. Next 4% have a mental illness. Now, why don't we have a county homeless court like we have the Veterans Court? I'm currently trying to forge some legislation about the incarceration program for veterans, which we seem not to have here in Thurston County. It says it in the fund, in the Veterans Fund that we do, but we don't. I know that for a fact because I sit there on Fridays every day at 11 o'clock. I'm up there staffing, sponsoring, and helping write bills for the state of Washington for veterans. To give them a hand up would be great, but we give them a handout and nothing is done. Like, for example, $1,700 was the cost that Olympia was paying to keep them in a box down at the tiny home camp. And less than 5% left after the first 5 years. What are we doing to get these homeless off the street? Get them off public assistance. Do we have a social services department? Oh, I'm sorry. Let's just minus 5 people in the social services department because we don't need them. We don't need them for the homeless, which is their account. We don't need any help whatsoever. We're doing so fine, but the number of homeless has increased and continued to increase. I am a subject of the homeless. I had a person go in and pillage everything that I own in my remodel. Guess what? He was already incarcerated for stealing catalytic converters. Guess what? That was a check-in, check-out. He still owes me a bunch of money for restitution. And do you think I'll ever get that back? No. Do you think he used it to better himself, to be a pillar of society? Are you kidding me? He probably used it to get some more drugs because we're just letting him in and letting him out. The only people we're not letting out are the people that actually have money. Okay? And that's an injustice of our justice system here. I had a prosecuting attorney sit up here and say that he no longer prosecutes for some other reason for use or for paraphernalia. He's no longer prosecuting that. How are we going to get these homeless off the street? Incarceration is the way we did it, but we're failing there too. Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the boardroom that would like to provide? Okay, we'll move on to Zoom. County Manager Williams.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The only person that I believe is from the public going to call is Mr. Kyle Lucas. Would you like to provide testimony this afternoon?
Actually, no. I'm not able to do that this time. Circumstances change. I'm going to have a report next time. Having to do with housing affordability.
And you can always send us via email any type of comments you'd like to provide to the board.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
And that will conclude public testimony, Madam Chair.
Okay. Thank you. Next is county manager's update.
I have one update, and this is a follow-up to the public testimony you received last week from Ms. Melissa Godoy. And she was making a plea on the lack of cellular service in the Yale Maria South County. Absolutely, she made a very compelling argument in terms of the safety and some of the challenges of those residents within that area. They don't have access to cell phone services. Unfortunately, the county is not in the position to provide those services to the residents. We process any type of applications from any cell phone provider, and we'll welcome any type of application for a new cell tower that we can process accordingly. So unfortunately, the county is not in the position to directly address that particular request. We'll reach out to staff will reach out to Ms. Melissa Godoy to make sure she has the resources to contact the cell phone providers and see if there is an opportunity for them to provide services within that area. And related to the READ 1 funding, they received public testimony from Mr. Pettit last week and also this week. We will be providing you with an updated 10-year financial plan on the READ 1 funding next Tuesday, next Thursday morning, when you review the requests for the budget amendment that is coming up for your attention here in a couple months. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the county manager, Commissioner Edwards?
No, ma'am.
Commissioner Mentzer? Okay, no questions for me. With that, we'll move on to consent items. There's only one item. Is there a motion?
I move to approve consent item 3A.
Yes, I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Oh, is a non-debatable motion. I'll call for the vote.
Okay.
Oh, but do you want to?
I was just
Okay.
going to point out to the public, and I'm sorry those young people left, because it's kind of a step in the direction that they're headed, so. And I see that it is on our consent calendar, but, you know, we're going to try and do our part on a solar array coming up.
If you give me the floor, I can probably explain the item.
Rebecca's here too.
And Rebecca's here also.
Okay. Well, Commissioner Mentzer, will you withdraw your motion?
Sure.
Okay, motion's been withdrawn. So with that, we'll go back to discussion, and I'll pass it to the county manager.
Thank you, Commissioners. This item you reviewed this morning, and this is one of the many steps the Board of County Commissioners are taking to address climate change. And this particular item is related to solar panels and the installation of solar panels and county property. And this item is make a notice of intent to negotiate a lease with a potential vendor that we can lease portions of the Waste and Recovery Center. That's the work located in the Hawkesbury area of a solid waste division of Public Works, where we can probably, with a partnership with Puget Sound Energy, we can install solar panels and start working on that renewable energy as we move along in the process. I can attest to the fact that the board has been very interested on this particular approach, and this is the direction that you provided early in the year. In fact, it was January 10, 2023, you provided this direction. This is the first step. There will be many other steps associated with this particular lease, but it will be an opportunity for offering up to 25 acres on the Waste and Recovery Center for the installation and management of solar panels that will provide renewable energy to many residents here in Thurston County. And the program manager that is leading this chart is Rebecca Harvey, here joined us via Zoom. And if she has an additional perspective on this, welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you, County Manager. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Rebecca Harvey, Climate Mitigation Senior Program Manager. Yes, Ramiro summarized the proposal perfectly. I would just add that development of solar on landfills is a growing use of these sites that can't be developed for really anything else. So it's wide open land. We have identified about up to about 25 acres that can be suitable for solar panels. There are firms that are expert at installing these systems on landfills without disturbing the landfill itself, gets good sun exposure, and it's a win-win for our climate mitigation goals, as well as providing some revenue to the county in terms of lease payments. So I'm here to answer any questions if there are any. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any questions?
No questions. Sorry to put everybody on the spot.
No, thank you for that, Commissioner Edwards. I think it is something we've discussed a lot, and it's just great to highlight.
Nope.
Okay, I'm ready for it.
Motion. I move to approve consent item 3A.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Non-debatable motion, so I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menser? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay. Moving on to department items from the auditor's office. Item 4A is the approval of the voucher list. County Manager.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. For your consideration is to approve the voucher list for the week of March 27, 2023 for a combined amount of $3,794,575.24. This particular item is before you as a department item because we still paying some expenditures related to the tenant improvements here at the atrium.
Is there a motion? Oh, are there any questions for the county manager? I apologize.
No questions.
Threw me off.
I move to approve the voucher list for the week of March 27, 2023 for a combined amount of $3,794,575.24.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Nay.
Commissioner Menser?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Moving on to item 4B is approval of the voucher list for the week of April 3rd. County Manager.
Yeah, similar to the previous item, Commissioners, for your considerations to approve the voucher list for the week of April 3rd, 2023, which contains a combined amount of $1,607,666.81.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the county manager, Commissioner Edwards?
No, ma'am.
Commissioner Menser?
No.
Okay, no questions from me. I'm ready for a motion, sir.
I move to approve the voucher list for the week of April 3rd, 2023 for a combined amount of $1,607,666.81.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Nay.
Commissioner Menser? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Moving on to central services, item 5A, lease amendment extension between Thurston County Sheriff's Office and J4 Associates. And Richard King, Capital Project Manager 2, will present this item.
Yep, Richard King, Capital Project Manager of Central Services. At this time, we're asking the board to approve a one-year lease extension at 7721 New Market Street between Thurston County Sheriff's Department and J4 Associates. And I'm available for any questions.
Are there any questions? Commissioner Edwards?
No, ma'am. We've had discussion on this. Thank you.
Commissioner Menser? No questions from me. Is there a motion?
I move to approve the one-year lease extension between Thurston County Sheriff's Office and J4 Associates and authorize the Assistant County Manager to sign the amendment.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menser? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye.
Something's going on.
Yeah. Okay.
Hear a conversation.
Yeah, I can hear a
very-
conversation.
Very faintly. Not sure what.
Oh, it's CPID?
CPID behind us.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll move on. Okay, community planning and economic development. I just want to make sure it's not getting picked up by the audio and
Yeah.
interfering with what we're Okay. We'll move on with Community Planning and Economic Development. Item 6A is to set a public hearing for the code clarifications and corrections amendment. Andrew?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Staff are requesting the Board of County Commissioners set a public hearing for Tuesday, May 23rd at 3:30 p.m. or soon thereafter as the matter may be heard on the Code Clarifications and Corrections Amendment. The Code Clarifications and Corrections Amendment is comprised of 3 projects on the 2022-2023 Development Code docket, which are all county-initiated projects. The projects include in this proposal is A13, miscellaneous clerical errors, A28, clarification of expansion of non-residential uses and structures, and A29, update signboard posting procedures. The proposed amendments include changes to the standards for academic schools in the special use chapter, changes to standards for on-site noticing requirements of type 3 permits, and corrections to various clerical errors throughout Thurston County Code. The Planning Commission reviewed this item at 2 work sessions on February 1st and February 15th. A public hearing was held before the Planning Commission on March 15th to accept public testimony. Following the public hearing, the Planning Commission voted 8-0 with 1 absent to recommend approval of the Code Clarifications and Corrections Amendment. No written comments were received during the Planning Commission process. A 60-day notice of the proposed adoption was provided to the Washington State Department of Commerce on March 15th. A SEPA determination of non-significance was issued on March 17th with no comments received. The board was briefed on April 12th, and following that meeting, staff submitted an AIS to schedule a public hearing for May. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today, and I would also like to make note that the agenda says May 16th, but we wish to have it on May 23rd for the public hearing. Thank you.
Okay, so there is going to be an amendment to the action. Instead of May 16, it's set now for May 23rd. 1 second. Okay. So are there any questions for Andrew, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Menser?
No.
Okay, I am ready for a motion.
I'll move to set a public hearing for the Code Clarifications and Corrections Amendment on May 23rd, 2023 at 3:30 p.m. or soon thereafter as the matter may be heard in room 110, 3000 Pacific Avenue Southeast, Olympia.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menser? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to emergency services, item 7A, medic unit procurement. Ben?
Okay, it's on.
Okay. I apologize. We're having some audio technological issues, so. Okay, but we're.
Maybe it was me.
With emergency services, medic unit procurement, Ben Miller Todd, our emergency services director, will present this item. Ben.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Ben Miller Todd, Director of Emergency Services. I will say that I should take some notes off the Earth Day presentation. That was pretty epic, but we'll try to get there with this one. Thurston County Medic 1 is requesting authorization to procure 5 new paramedic units for deployment in Thurston County in 2024. Due to extreme supply chain constraints and manufacturing delays, Medic 1 previously approached the board for authorization to procure cooperatively from the HDAC contract and secure 5 Ford chassis for a 2024 build. The vendor has since confirmed that these actions have secured Thurston County the necessary 5 chassis and have prevented any further delays of fleet rotation for critical operational equipment. It is important to note that economic pressures have had extraordinary and unprecedented effects on the cost of specialized vehicles. Limited supply and widespread demand have created a market where costs have soared between 25 to 30% each year in 2021 and 2022. The upward pressures on this niche market have ballooned prices well beyond historical annual increases. Additionally, the EMS Council unanimously recommended the 2022-2023 budget adopted by the Board of County Commissioners, which included the initiation of medic unit fleet rotation in 2023. Medic 1 will be seeking budget authority through the 2024-2025 budget development process. This procurement has been built into the 10-year plan for Medic 1, and an additional briefing will be provided at EMS Council tomorrow afternoon. This is in alignment and support of Thurston County Strategic Plan Initiative 5, Strengthen Emergency Medical Services providing countywide Medic 1 and area hospitals. With that, we are requesting that the Board of County Commissioners move to authorize the Director of Emergency Services to purchase 5 paramedic units in accordance with the HGAC contract in the amount of $2,068,914.58 and execute any amendments not to exceed 15%. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Ben, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions, but this was approved sometime back and the EMS Council has been pushing this through, right?
Yep.
Thank you.
Questions, Commissioner Menser?
Kids did better, you're right.
I know. They rocked it.
But you didn't have good subject matter to work with.
Nope.
That was a high bar.
For $2 million is not.
They set the bar unattainably high, so.
No questions for me. Thank you. I'm ready for a motion.
I'll move to authorize the Director of Emergency Services to purchase 5 Type 1 Superliner 171 body Ford F-550 to replace Thurston County paramedic vehicles under Houston Galveston Area Council, or HGAC, contract with Lifeline Emergency Vehicles, contract AM 10-20, in the amount of $2,068,914.58, and execute any amendments not to exceed 15%.
Second.
So moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mentor? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to information technology, item 8A, renewal of annual maintenance for Munis, and Sherry Elg, our Director for IT, will report on this item.
Sherry Elg, IT Director. I am seeking authorization to renew our Munis maintenance agreement in the amount of $302,669.42. We have used Munis throughout the county for 20 years to support our county financials. This amount has been budgeted for 2023, and it is in our IT rates. I can answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions, thank you.
Questions, Commissioner Menser?
No.
We've had several discussions about this contract, and we had it this morning, and past Tuesday, we had a little bit more. I think it gives us all heartburn, but it's something that, needs to be done. So with that, I am ready for a motion.
I move to approve the one-year renewal of the Munis software for current service extension and authorize the IT Director to pay Munis maintenance in the amount of $302,669.42, and any amendments do not exceed 10%.
Second.
So moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for a vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mentor? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Thank you, Sherry. Moving on to Public Health and Social Services, item 9A, Department of Ecology, Local Solid Waste Financial Assistant, Amendment Number 1. And Patrick Soderberg, our Hazardous Waste Specialist 3, will report on this item.
Thank you, Commissioners. Our program has an opportunity to accept a grant amendment from the State Department of Ecology. Our solid and hazardous waste program works under a local solid waste financial assistance grant from Ecology, and they are offering us the opportunity to have an amendment that would increase our current grant from $315,000 to $395,000, which would be an $80,000 increase. That includes a 25% match from the county, which comes from tipping fees, which supports our program. So we are requesting that you authorize the Director of Public Health and Social Services to accept and sign this grant amendment.
Thank you. Okay, any questions for Patrick?
No questions. We've had this explained to us. Thank you.
Commissioner Menzer? Okay, no questions for me. I'm ready for a motion.
Move to approve Amendment 1 to Local Solid Waste Financial Assistance Agreement 0036 between Washington State Department of Ecology and Thurston County Public Health and Social Services to add $80,000 for a total eligible cost of $395,120, and authorize the Public Health and Social Services Department Director to sign the agreement and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Evert?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay, moving on, we have a couple of items from Public Works, starting with the first item, item 10A, contract award for purchasing and planting trees as mitigation for the Marvin Road Upgrade Project, CP number 61478. Ryan Blazer, civil engineer, will report on this item. Ryan?
Hi, good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm actually Brian Meyer, Senior Civil Engineer at Thurston County Public Works. Ryan wasn't able to make it today, but I'm here to talk about this contract that we went out on March 23rd. We received a total of 2 bids for the purchasing and planting of the Oregon white oak trees. They will be used for mitigation for the Marvin Road Upgrade Phase 1 project. These bids were received in the response to advertisement in the Olympian and the Seattle Daily Journal, and the low responsive bidder was Advanced Environmental Inc. of Olympia, Washington, with the bid amount of $85,050. Thurston County was granted approval to remove approximately 60 Oregon white oak trees to construct the roadway improvements on Marvin Road between 22nd Avenue and Union Mills. A condition of this approval is that the removed trees would be replaced with a 2 to 3 year old Oregon white oak sapling at a 5-to-1 ratio. Oregon white oaks of this age are not readily available to purchase from local nurseries and will need to be specifically ordered and grown. The contractor will purchase these trees and plant them at a nursery until they are 2 to 3 years old, at which time the contractor will relocate these trees to our construction site after the main road construction has been completed. Public Works is requesting the Board of County Commissioners to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract for the purchase and planting of the Oregon white oak trees for the Marvin Road Upgrade Phase 1 project to Advanced Environmental Inc. and any change orders for this project due to unforeseen conditions only up to 10% of the contract. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys may have.
Questions, Commissioner?
No questions, thank you.
Questions, Commissioner Menzer? No questions for me. Sorry, Brian. We're confusing the last name. Okay, I'm ready for a motion.
I move to award the contract for the purchasing and planting of Oregon white oak trees as mitigation for the Marvin Road Upgrade Phase 1, 22nd Avenue to Union Mills Road project, CP number 61478, to Advanced Environmental Inc. of Olympia, Washington, in the amount of $85,050, and to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract and any change orders for this project due to unforeseen conditions only, not for changes in scope, up to 10% of the contract, $8,505, or an aggregate of $93,555.
Second?
So moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Evert?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Moving on to item 10B, rights-of-way vacation of portions in the plat of Railroad addition to Rochester and James replat. Craig, go ahead.
Thank you, Commissioners. Craig Sisson, Real Estate Services Manager. On May 11th, 2021, a public hearing was held on the vacation of various portions of rights-of-way along Highway 12 in Rochester. These unopened rights-of-way were dedicated to Thurston County by the plat of Railroad Addition to Rochester recorded under Auditor's File Number 2060 on June 22nd, 1891, and James Replat recorded under Auditor's File Number 50743 on February 20th, 1911. The hearing examiner considered the mandated criteria and determined that 1, the rights-of-way were never opened or used for public travel. 2, it is not necessary to maintain the right-of-way for public use as the adjacent properties have access from surrounding roads. 3, the public will benefit by this vacation as the county will be relieved of liability for the area and for the Class B roads. The county will receive compensation for the right-of-way based on current appraised value. Additionally, the value of the petitioner's property will increase with the increased parcel size. This recommendation is made subject to the following conditions. 1, the applicant will pay compensation as set forth in Thurston County Code 1336030. This condition has been met. The county has received compensation in the amount of $5,260. Number 2, the applicant Weaver must provide applicant DeGuy's family partnership and their heirs and assigns an easement over existing private road known as Foster Street Southwest. This condition has been met. The applicant recorded the easement on February 17th, 2023 under Auditor's File Number 4967628. And 3, a provision in the final resolution for the continuation of the Rochester Water Association easement in addition to the standard easement reservation. This verbiage is contained in the final resolution. This road vacation is in alignment with the county's strategic plan and Initiative 8 to support robust and well-maintained infrastructure systems for a thriving community. I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Commissioner Edwards?
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Menzer? Okay. Is there a motion?
I move to approve a resolution vacating various portions of rights-of-way in the plat of Railroad Addition to Rochester and James Replat as outlined in the hearing examiner's recommendation.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Item 10C is resolution and call for sealed bids for Black Lake Belmore Road Bridge Approach Repair Project, CP number 77175. Matt?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Matt Usman, Interim County Engineer. Public Works is requesting permission from the Board of County Commissioners to call for sealed bids for a contract to construct the Black Lake Belmore Road Bridge Approach Repair Project. The project will reconstruct both bridge approaches to the bridge crossing over Percival Creek at the north end of the Black Lake. Both approaches have settled more than 2 feet due to poor soil conditions and are creating a safety concern for vehicles and bicyclists. 540 piles will be driven into the ground to support the new bridge approaches. Construction will also include the installation of retaining walls and concrete barrier. Construction is expected to take 80 days, and Black Lake Belmore Road will be closed to accommodate the construction operations. A temporary detour route will be in place throughout the closure. The estimated construction cost is $3.3 million, which will be funded in part by refunding and with the rest coming from the county road fund. At this point, be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Questions? Commissioner Edwards?
Matt, when's the window for the construction, that time period that it might be closed?
So it'll be closed for 12 consecutive week periods between, it's somewhere in the time period of June 1st through October 31st.
With plenty of notice given to the public before.
A very detailed communication plan has been put together.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Menzer, questions? Okay, I'm ready for a motion.
Move to approve the resolution and call for sealed bids and authorize the interim county engineer to set the bid date and time for receipt and opening of said bids for the Black Lake Belmore Road Bridge Approach Repair Project CP 77175.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Moving on to next item, 10D. And it's our last department item is the on-call engineering and professional consultant services contract. And Rick Thomas.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Rick Thomas, Public Works Manager of the Projects Program Management Office. To augment and supplement staff's technical abilities, Public Works solicited requests for qualifications for a wide range of professional services, including civil engineering, transportation engineering, geotechnical investigation and analysis, cultural, historical, environmental, material testing and inspection, construction contract administration, solid waste facilities, water and sewer utilities, stormwater, and other associated fields in 2018. 8 on-call consultant contracts were awarded in July of 2018 with a total maximum funding limit of $5 million. Since 2018, board-approved increases have raised the aggregate funding limit to $12.1 million. The contracts were initially awarded for 2 base years with 4 additional option years. The 3rd option year will be completed in July with the anticipation of awarding the 4th and final option year to start on August 1st, 2023. These on-call contracts allow staff to quickly obtain needed services in a variety of areas and help keep public works projects on schedule. Each contract is independent and work is defined on a task basis for each work needed. Staff have evaluated consulting needs for the final contract option period and requests the board to approve an increase in funding limits by a total of $1.8 million for the following on-call construction services contracts. KPG Somas, Inc. increase from $800,000 to $900,000. AHBL, Inc. increase from $900,000 to $1 million. OTAC, Inc. increase from $800,000 to $1 million. Herrera Environmental Consultants, Inc. increase from $1.2 million to $1.6 million. KPFF, Inc. increase from $1.5 million to $2.1 million. And HDR Engineering, Inc. increase from $3.2 million to $3.6 million. This increase on the on-call contract funding limits will allow Public Works to, 1, continue to complete 15 to 20 capital projects annually without increasing county staff. 2, to be positioned to address new projects associated with any federal government infrastructure program. And 3, respond quickly to emergency events and critical emergent conditions if needed. Thank you. I'll answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
Maybe the only question I would have is, just because we're raising this a fair amount of money, it does not mean it's gonna be spent. It just gives the individual operations throughout the county the authority to go to one of these pre-selected groups to perform work. It doesn't necessarily mean we're gonna do it, but hopefully you're gonna come back and tell me you didn't spend any money on this, but maybe that's not true. Maybe you won't be able to tell me that, but less money than what we authorized, maybe.
I can answer in the affirmative that this would be the maximum limits, and we're not obligated to spend up to that limit.
Thank you.
Commissioner Menser. No questions for me. I'm ready for a motion.
Clear my throat for this one. It's going to take a while.
Yeah, it's a long one.
I move to approve the amendments to the on-call engineering and professional services contracts to increase funding limits with KPG Somas, Inc. from $800,000 to $900,000, with AHBL, Inc. from $900,000 to $1 million, with OTAC, Inc. from $800,000 up to $1 million, with Herrera Environmental Consultants, Inc. from $1,200,000 to up to $1,600,000, with KPFF Inc. from $1,500,000 to $2,100,000. With HDR Engineering Inc. from $3,200,000 to $3,600,000. And authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the amendments and any future amendments that do not exceed 10% of the contracts.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote. Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay, that will conclude our department items. Next is item 11A. Commissioners will report on board work sessions and assign committee meetings, providing updates on actions taken as well as upcoming issues. Commissioner Edwards, we'll start with you, sir.
Boards and commission activity, I guess, Disability Board meeting last week, and Thurston County Chamber. The Thurston County Fair is having their annual secondhand, they call it a safari event, this weekend at the fairgrounds to help fund their activities. So I just bring that out for those individuals that might want to attend a yard sale is basically what that is. And it helps our operation at the fairgrounds. And I would like to mention that Wendy Hill and her team over at the 911 Center at Capcom have recently been the recipients of two pretty prestigious awards, both from the state and the national level. And maybe we'll get Wendy to come over and show us those at some point in time. But, those folks are doing a great job over there, and very seldom do they get recognized. So I just thought I'd bring that up. And then lots of constituent contacts on many issues. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's a great idea. Maybe when fair dates come out and we can have members of the fair board come through and we can recognize them for all the hard work they do. Commissioner Menzer.
Okay, committees, meetings included lot on Wednesday night in person. We're doing it every other in-person and hybrid. It was an in-person meeting. Alliance for Healthy South Sound Executive Committee meeting, where we are hosting in Thurston County the Puget Sound Partnership Leadership Committee Local Forum. Happens twice a year. We're hosting it at the Lot Boardroom in June. And I volunteered our environmental health staff to give the presentation that they gave to the Board of Health about the work being done. Because what the topic that we're presenting on is water quality, especially related to shellfish. So the work that we're doing in Nisqually Reach and Henderson Inlet seemed to fit right in with a bunch of other subtopics. So hopefully Art and Jane can give that presentation to the Puget Sound Leadership Council. It's a leadership council reaching out to communities and hearing kind of feedback from local stakeholders. So I'll be part of that. Other community events, there was a ton. Attended the chamber event till my filling fell out. I had to go to the dentist. Attended John Doan's retirement event, the city manager of Tumwater. That was at Heritage Distilling and was very well attended. Attended the Sentencing Guideline Commission meeting. I'm not formally appointed yet. We're still waiting for Governor Inslee to sign that off, but I've been attending meetings and we had one last Friday. Attended a Capital Land Trust field tour at their Inspiring Kids Preserve. I had taken a tour just with nobody there, but I asked them to invite me back when the kids were there so I could see what kind of education they were actually providing. So Pleasant Glade Elementary had a whole crew of third graders with volunteers, and I got to go to each station and see what hands-on activities were being shown, and it was really good. Found a salamander, identified a lot of birds. I learned about this really cool app you can get on your phone where you basically press a button and it'll hear the bird call and identify and match the sound form and identify the bird for you, which was pretty awesome. I'm gonna get that app. Chehalis Tribe meeting yesterday, met with tribal council leaders and public works leaders about the road issues, and we made some headway on that, I think. Pop-up forum that Commissioner Mejia put together, and I was able to attend and hear the very detailed feedback to our proposed program, and I think we can make some tweaks that should work really well. I'm optimistic about that. It was a good meeting. Attended the housing hub, homeless heroes. There's a lot of H's there, but they give awards every year, and Commissioner Mejia spoke there, and there was community leaders recommended that were awarded in 2 categories. Each person that won was named Natalie. I'll get the last names wrong, but one of them, basically put our whole coordinated entry system back together. And the other Natalie, help me out here. The other Natalie was from one of the agencies. I can see her. Do you remember what her?
I remember the Natalie from Family Support
Yeah.
Center.
Well, anyway, they were awesome nominees, and we got to hear about all the nominees, and then they unveiled the votes, and that was a great event yesterday at the Olympia Center. Met with Lake Management District leaders and legacy forest advocates with some updates on things that are happening both in the legislature and with the Board of Natural Resources on that issue.
Thank you. A lot of the same events, the pop-up meetings, and I've briefed Commissioner Edwards because it is a Board of Health matter on kind of how that conversation went. Did the Champions for Housing luncheon, Finance Committee. I did a tour with County Manager in Superior Court. Judge Murphy had invited Ramiro, and I went along with him, mostly because I was curious to see what their courtroom of the future would look like. And so they've started putting sound panels, and then they've started putting, as well as some computers kind of where the jury is, since the computers are kind of far away. And so I'm excited to see what else they come with. And this was the grant that we got from the Administrative Office of the Courts. Attended St. Martin's. There was a Latin expression that our very own intern, Daisy Miranda, and her group in college put together, and very well attended. It was the first time I'd heard of this event, and it was just, they did an amazing job, and I can't wait to get more information about the event next year and try to promote it more out in the community. I attended the Mayor's Forum. Most of last week, I was at the County Road Administration Board. Thurston County is getting an additional $1.1 million on the 183rd project, so that's great news. And then we're getting $500,000 for Tilly Road. And our certificate of compliance is going to be coming through. There were several counties, it was surprising, that are not, they're getting a conditional certificate, and it's because of their bridges structures. And there are several counties that are really behind the curve. There was one county in particular that had over 100 bridges that they have to fix in a year, and I don't know how they're going to even do that, or if they're gonna have to submit a work plan, but just really important to maintain our bridges so we don't lose funding. It just really was very thankful for our staff during that meeting. And then I attended the Legislative Steering Committee for the Washington State Association of Counties. And with that, I'll pass it on to the county manager, who will review the Board of County Commissioners' schedule for the week of April 18th, 2023.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before I go through your calendar, maybe an editorial comment related to the CRAB, the Certificate of Good Practice. And the county, Thurston County, has been receiving the Certificate of Good Practice for years. And that the relevance of receiving the Certificate of Good Practice is what allows us to access gas tax dollars to fix our roads. Absent the Certificate of Good Practice, counties will not be able to access gas tax money to fix the roads. And I think that is the relevance of the certificate you just stated, Madam Chair.
Yes.
So let me walk you through your combined schedule where at least 2 commissioners will be present. You may have individual appointments on your individual calendars. Those will not be part of my report. But let me walk you through for the next 2 weeks, since the board meeting for Tuesday, April 25th, 2 in the afternoon has been canceled. So I'll walk you through the next 2 weeks. Beginning this afternoon, here in a few minutes at 3:30, you have a public hearing related to the Housing and Urban Development Consolidated Plan and need analysis. Moving on to Wednesday, April 13, 9 in the morning, you have a briefing related to the capital asset inventory reports. At noon, you have been invited to participate in the Tenino Area Chamber of Commerce that is going to be located on Sandstone Cafe, 273 6th Avenue West in Tenino. Tomorrow, Wednesday, April 19th, 2 in the afternoon, you have your regular meetings with the appointed directors. Thursday, April 20th at 1:30, you have the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Administrative Services Organization Governing Board meeting. Friday, April 21st, 8 in the morning, you have been invited to participate on the South Thurston Economic Development Initiative, also known as STEADY, and that is, I believe, virtual or in person. And then at noon on April 21st, you have your standing legislative virtual update from the Washington State Association of Counties. Monday, April 24th, at noon, you have your standing meetings with the Washington State Association of Counties elected officials. 4 in the afternoon, you have your standing meeting on the House, Washington. Tuesday, April 25th, you will be here at 9:15 in the morning to go through your agenda setting. And again, Tuesday, April 15th, the 2 o'clock Board of County Commissioners meeting is canceled. Wednesday, April 26th, 9 in the morning, you have a briefing related to the Chehalis Basin, land briefing opportunities. 9:30, you have a briefing related to the capital projects approval streamline process briefing. 10:30, nothing at 10:30. You have 2 in the afternoon on April 26th, the state of the water and sewer utilities here in the county. 3 in the afternoon, April 26th, you have a briefing related to the railroad quiet zones, and that's a follow-up briefing. Thursday, April 27, 9 in the morning, you have a briefing from the Economic Development Council. 10 in the morning, you have a briefing related to the budget amendment that will be coming up for your attention in a few weeks. 1 in the afternoon, April 27, you have a briefing related to the open space and the tax application program that you manage. And Thursday, April 27, 2 in the afternoon, you have a briefing related to the pretrial services and specifically related to the assessment tool that comes to fruition. Friday, April 28th, from 9 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, you have a commissioners planning session, and an agenda will be published 24 hours in advance, obviously. And that will conclude my report. Thank you. Any questions?
I would like to add that, not sure if the other commissioners know, but Ken Balsley's celebration of life will be on the 24th. I don't exactly know where.
At St. Martin's, I
St. Martin's?
believe,
Yeah.
at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
So for commissioners who would like to attend.
We'll add it to the master calendar. Thank you.
Okay, with that, we've reached the conclusion of our agenda. We do have a 3:30 public hearing. That it is on the same Zoom link, so if you would like to join us for that. That we are adjourned. Thank you all.